Where are you going to buy your goats? Once you get them, how many can I have? And then fencing. Where are you going to buy your goats? I think this is an important because you can really probably get some good ones at a sale like this sale, small animal auction here in the middle. If you don't pay attention, it's like, oh, it's just a sale. But if you'll look at this goat right here, to me it looks really unhealthy. Yeah. It's really thin in the back, it's sunk in on the sides. The quality of the picture is awful. And it's probably there because it is not doing well, and that farmer's like, I got to get something out of it before it dies, right? So I recommend not going to these small animal auctions and buying them. Now, you can get some good deals, you can get some good goats, you can find some goats that if you want to clear off land, that may be a perfect place for you to go. But I think you would be better served if you found just somebody in your area that was a decent goat farmer, had decent parasite resistance, decent goats that are going to live and mother, and just buy them from them. You would probably spend $50 more a head than you would from the auction, but you'll have 5 that'll live instead of buying 5, and 3 of them die, and then you have to go back and replace them. You'll end up saving money in the long run. These are, like I say here, this is farm direct. This is this is a rental farm that I have. This is one of the bucks I'm running there, a couple dogs, and there's about 9 does with him. And this was my very first sale ever. This is an invitational auction. Now there's a big difference in this auction and this auction. All animals in this auction carry papers. They've all been tested for Yonis and CAE and CL and all those vet checks. Everything has to be done to them. They carry a microchip like a dog. They carry an ear tag on one side. And that goat sold for $550 versus a $200 commercial dog. But I've got more invested, but I still made some profit in it. Any questions? Facebook, Craigslist. Yes, you can find some good animals there. You just have to be very picky. Want to see the farm, want to see how they're taken care of. Do they look good? Do they look bad? Any questions about kind of where to buy them at? All right, so once you get them, how many can I have? I don't know how to tell you that, but I know how you can figure it out, all right? The ag extension in my area, they know nothing about goats, so don't go ask them, how many goats can I run an acre? But the easiest way to do that is go and say, how many cows or how many cow-calf pairs can I run per acre? Or how many acres does it take to run a cow-calf pair? In my area, a cow-calf pair, which is about 1,200 pounds, can run on 1 acre, all right? So my goats are going to average about 100 pounds a piece, my does, some higher, 120, 130. But let's say they just, for ease of number, they average 100 pounds. So how many goats can I run for that 1 cow-calf pair? I can run, realistically, 12 goats for that 1 cow-calf pair. That's the way you can find. Ask your ag extension about cows. Every ag extension guy knows about cows and cows per acre, and then you kind of convert that. It's just basically an animal unit. You take that animal unit of pounds and you put the animal unit of pounds and goats in that same number. Now, do I run 12 per acre because it says I can? I usually don't. I always back that number down, 6, 7, maybe 8 at some times of the year, but I like to be below that well. Number 1, it makes my pastures look good. Number 2, there's always feed there and they're not getting out of the pasture when there's feed there. And number 3, it keeps the parasite load low. Now, I would love to be able to stand here and tell you I rotate my goats every day just like people rotate their cows, but I work full time, 7:30 to 3:30. I have grandkids, I have a wife, I have a life. I don't do that. So I keep my stocking density low so that I'm still helping my parasite load, and I move them out over 3 farms that I have. Okay? Any questions about how to determine how many you can get? And then fencing. I first started with this fence. I don't know if you can tell, her head's on the wrong side of that fence. That is just the basic field fencing that is nice and cheap. It's the cheapest roll of 330 foot high tensile wire that's there. It starts with 4 by 6 and goes to 6 by 6 and then like 8 by 6 and bigger as it goes. And it works great to keep adults in, but when those kids get just right, those horns get just right and they can go through and then they can't get back. And this, they do not learn. That one goat will be stuck probably 3 or 4 times while I'm gone, and my wife's gonna be like, you need to get rid of her, right? So if you have this, you can put like a wire of electric down. These are just in a small little, like a 1/3 of an acre lot where I'm growing them out for a sale. So I need to fix that, but I haven't. It's not the biggest fire at my house right now. Bush hogging, keeping up with the rain is the biggest. Also, you can use this electro netting, works well. Nice 4x4 sheep and goat wire is perfect, but it's super expensive. Another way is go with a cattle wire, which is 4x12, and then it starts like 3x12, 4x12, 6x12, maybe 8x12. And the reason that works really good is they can get their heads through it and they can get their heads back. So that's a really good wire that lowers the expense. If you don't want to run electric, you can run the cattle wire. The only time you have to worry about that is when you start having kids, because they can get through the 12-inch space at the bottoms. They can get back through from their moms, but if you'll put one little 14 smooth gauge wire along the bottom to keep the kids in, then you've got a really good fence as well. And then this is my fence at my new pasture. This is one I did. I do 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I start at the ground 6 inches off the ground, 6 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. And that gives me a 42-inch fence. And Greg Judy says 42 inches keeps the deer from catching their feet in it as they go over it, and they don't tear it down. And so I tried it, everybody's like, no, 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 you have to go 48. I said, my goats are not gonna jump at 42. The dogs ain't gonna jump it really at 42. I run guardian dogs too. And it's worked perfect. I've not had a deer break the top wire yet. I use a 12.5 high tensile, and for me, I will never put anything in anymore but this. That's me. Cost effective, it's easy to install. If a tree falls on it, that high tensile, you cut it off, it pops back up. Now, I've been looking at timeless fence posts, but I would still run this combination or a combination like it. I'm not saying the 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9 is perfect. Sometimes it's a little low on the bottom. You have to go in and add a T-post here and there just because of the contour of the ground. But I love that fence. The first one I ever did was 7 wires. I was a little overkill. I think I added another 6 and then went up with that. I think 7 are too much. You could get by with 5 if you wanted to stretch those tops out. But at this farm, I'm not there. I have my brother-in-law rents the house that's on that. We bought it from her grandfather. So he's there watching it, but I'm not there every day. I'd rather have that extra wire. I mean, 4,000 foot of wires around less than $200 or something, or was last time I looked. I don't know about prices now.
That guy downstairs is selling that real nice. He said that it's running about $1.50 a foot.
For the wire?
Yeah, and the woven wire, you know, that you were the metal high tensile woven wire, that's a lot.
$3 or $4 a foot
yeah.
to be installed, right?
But that he said that down there, paying that happens with everything.
Oh, post and all, yeah.
Post and all.
About $1.50 a foot.
$1.50 a foot.
Exactly, yes, sir.
Are you running electric on each of those lines?
Yes, good question. All of my lines are hot. Every one of them are hot. Now, some people, for cattle and stuff, alternate. I do not, and I can understand why, but I make sure I put in plenty of ground rods. You need to make sure you have a good ground system because your fence is no good without the grounds. Yeah. I run at least minimum 3 rods, 12 foot apart, 8 foot deep. And on some of my farms, I run, because it's rocky or really clay or gets really dry, I will add even a 3rd or a 4th rod, because I want that conduction to happen. You have to have the negative and the positive. You have to have a good ground when they meet.
Do you use solar at all?
I do. I have one place that I run a 7 wire system, and I run a total solar. I run a regular charger, a DC charger, and I put up my own solar panel. It's 10 watts per joule is what they recommend. And I usually, if it's like, let's say a 3 joule charger needs a 30 watt panel, I usually bump up to like a 40 watt panel just to give a little extra. I'm one of those things, well, 30's good, and that's what they say, let's go to 40. Because in my area where my fence is, there's a little, during the day, they've got a little bit of shade. So I bumped my wattage up a little bit. During the summer, I never have to change the battery. During the winter, when the sun's not as high, every 2 or 3 months, I'll put a new battery in because it has trouble keeping it charged. But 10 watts per joule of charger. Any other questions? Solar works great for me. I've had no trouble. And I run those 7-wire fence off of solar, and it keeps it hot all the time, and keep all the wires hot as well. And this is where I was talking about, a fence won't hold water, it won't hold a goat. Joel Salatin said that, and plenty of people have heard that. I have to disagree with that. This pasture here, I've had for the last 3 years, I've had 1 goat get out. Other than the time I left the gate open, they were in the neighbor's yard. But the reason that goat got out is I was buying 2 from a gentleman. One of the 2 I was gonna buy just had an episode and got sick, so I didn't buy. I bought the 1 and put it in a pasture with 20 others. And you all know that when you add 1 animal to a group, that pecking order starts. And all I know is I come over the next day and to check and feed, and she was coming up along the outside of the fence. I feel like they started beating on her and just she just run through the fence, because really electric's just psychological. It's not really there to hold them in. It can't, you know what I mean, but it's a psychological fear. Let her back in, she's good with the herd, she's never been out again. But if you have one that continuously gets out, my recommendation is eat it. Sell it to somebody and let them eat it, because I don't care, that 1 goat will teach everybody else how to get out. Just the same with cattle if you talk to cattle people. Fence chargers, these are Cyclops. I've used them, I don't have one now. I like them, they're American made, they're great chargers. There's some downstairs with a timeless guy if you want to talk to him about the charger. But I put that picture up there just to give you a rule of thumb. You need 1 joule of charge for about every mile of fence you have. Now let's say if you're running 6 wires and your fence is only a half a mile, that doesn't mean you can get by with just a half a mile charger. You've got 6 wires at a half a mile. So you have to add all those together, which will give you 3 miles of charger, 3 miles of fence, which means you need at least 3 joules of charge. Does that make sense? So don't forget to count all your wires in that section. Any questions so far? And ground. That is the key.